You've been conditioned to believe silence is a vacuum that must be filled, proof you're losing her. So you scramble, triple texting when she's slow to reply, over-explaining your intentions, oversharing your past to manufacture connection. You mistake quantity for quality, flooding conversations until your vulnerability feels less like intimacy and more like desperation. But true connection isn't built in noise, it's forged in the spaces between words. Silence isn't rejection, it's reflection. It's where she digests your presence, where curiosity blooms. When you rush to fill every pause, you signal anxiety, not confidence. You teach her your attention is cheap and unlimited. A man grounded in his worth doesn't fear quiet. He leans into it. He lets texts breathe. He doesn't interpret her delayed reply as disinterest but as life unfolding. His stillness communicates, I'm complete with or without your validation. This unnerves her in the best way, because most men can't do it. They chatter, justify, and seek approval through constant noise. But you let moments land. You speak with intention, not compulsion. Your restraint creates gravity, pulling her in as she wonders what you're truly thinking. In that quiet, she hears herself missing you. And that's when she leans closer, not because you begged, but because you became undeniable. You've been taught that devotion means centering her world, adjusting your schedule to match hers, abandoning your passions to accommodate her moods, treating her priorities as sacred while yours become negotiable. This isn't loyalty, it's self-erasure. Attraction thrives on polarity, not fusion. When you dissolve into her orbit, you become background noise, predictable, safe, and ultimately invisible. The shift begins when you reclaim your axis. Build a life that excites you first. Not a performative display for her attention, but a genuine pursuit of purpose, the startup you're launching at dawn, the wilderness trail you map alone on weekends, the novel only you believe in. This isn't selfishness, it's sovereignty. A man anchored in his own mission radiates a quiet gravity. She senses it in the way you speak about your work, the stack of books by your bed she's never read, the focused intensity in your eyes when you describe climbing Kilimanjaro next year. Suddenly, she's not the prize, she's drawn to the energy of a prize already being won. Her curiosity ignites, what's it like inside that world? Could I belong there? You stop asking for her time, she starts seeking entry into yours. Because a woman doesn't fall for a man who makes her his universe. She falls for the man who builds a universe so compelling, she'll move galaxies to be part of it. You mistake vulnerability for speed. You believe that baring your soul early, confessing past wounds, unloading insecurities, sharing dreams you've told no one, will fast-track intimacy. But true connection isn't built on shortcuts, it's forged in the slow burn of trust. Handing a stranger the keys to your emotional world doesn't make you brave, it makes you reckless. Oversharing isn't depth, it's emotional dumping. It floods the space between you, leaving no room for curiosity, no mystery to unravel. Instead, treat your inner world like a sacred archive. Not hidden, but curated. Let her earn access chapter by chapter. When she listens without judgment as you debate quitting your job, that's when you reveal the childhood dream that fuels your restlessness. When she shows up after your father's funeral, that's when you share how his silence shaped your own. This isn't withholding, it's honoring the weight of your story. Each layer she unlocks feels earned, not given. She doesn't just hear your pain, she witnesses your trust. And in that witnessing, she invests. Because cheap vulnerability asks for pity, earned vulnerability commands respect. Suddenly, she isn't just receiving confessions, she's guarding treasures. She leans closer, not because you handed her everything, but because she knows what it cost you to let her in. The man who makes her work gently to know him. That's the man she'll fight to understand. You've confused consistency with predictability. Yes, reliability matters, but when every Tuesday is tacos, every text arrives at 9 p.m. sharp, and every weekend mirrors the last, you become a solved equation. Comfortable? Perhaps. But comfort is the quiet killer of desire. She doesn't need fake adventures or staged Instagram moments. She needs evidence that your inner world has currents deeper than what she sees. This isn't about deception, it's about dimension. Start that novel only 3 people will read. Spend Saturday restoring a motorcycle in your garage instead of scrolling through her stories. Take a solo road trip just to photograph abandoned gas stations at dawn. Do it because it feeds your soul, not because she might notice. When you live this way, something shifts. She overhears you passionately debating Byzantine history with a friend. She finds charcoal sketches of urban decay in your notebook. She realizes your quiet night in means studying quantum mechanics for fun. Now her mind starts working. Who is this man when I'm not watching? What else lives beneath his calm surface? Predictability makes her feel secure, thoughtful unpredictability makes her feel alive. She stops anticipating your next move and starts anticipating your next layer. Because mystery isn't manufactured, it's the natural byproduct of a man engaged in his own becoming. When you're too fascinated by your own growth to obsess over hers, she'll lean in to catch the spark. She'll test you. Not with malice, but with instinct, poking your boundaries, teasing your insecurities, or dismissing your passions to see if you flinch. Most men misinterpret this as conflict to avoid. They backtrack, soften their stance, or worse, mirror her cynicism to seem agreeable. You're really into those vintage motorcycles? Seems like a midlife crisis waiting to happen, she might say. And if you shrink, well, maybe it's silly, I just think they're neat. You've failed. You've told her your truth is negotiable. Holding your frame isn't about stubbornness. It's about unwavering alignment with your own values. When she pushes, anchor deeper into your authenticity. A slight smile, calm eye contact, midlife crisis? Maybe. But restoring something forgotten beats scrolling through regrets. No defensiveness. No concession. Just quiet certainty. She's watching. Does he crumble when challenged? Does he seek her approval to exist? Your steadiness signals something primal, a man who won't abandon himself to keep her. That's the shift. Her test wasn't about motorcycles. It was about trust. Can she lean into you when life shakes? If you bend to a teasing jab, how will you hold her weight in a storm? When she sees you grounded, not rigid, not reactive, but rooted, her tension dissolves. Resistance becomes respect. She stops testing the man and starts trusting him. Because in a world of shifting masks, your solid core is the rarest thing she'll ever touch. You mistake entanglement for empathy. When she spirals, rehashing old arguments, dissecting texts from her ex, demanding you soothe anxieties you didn't create, you dive headfirst into the chaos. You analyze, reassure, and absorb every wave of emotion, believing this proves your devotion. But drowning with her isn't support, it's enabling. Drama isn't intimacy, it's a vortex that depletes both of you. True strength lies not in joining the storm, but in offering solid ground. Picture this: she texts at midnight, furious over a coworker's comment, demanding you agree they're all out to get her. Instead of fueling the fire, they're jealous. You anchor the moment. That sounds exhausting. Let's talk when you're clear-headed. This deserves your full power. You acknowledge her pain without amplifying it. You redirect energy toward agency, not victimhood. This isn't coldness, it's curation. You're guarding the emotional space between you, making it safe for growth, not gossip. When she realizes you won't dance in the chaos, that your calm isn't a wall but a sanctuary, she faces a choice: cling to dysfunction or rise to meet your standard. Most men fear setting this boundary, worried she'll leave. But the woman worth keeping won't flee your peace, she'll fight to protect it. Because in the end, she doesn't need another participant in her drama. She needs a man who reminds her she's capable of building something better. Stagnation is silent sabotage. You believe consistency means staying the same routines, same skills, same conversations replaying like a worn tape. But attraction thrives on evolution, not preservation. She doesn't want a museum piece, she wants a living, breathing force that pulls her toward horizons she can't yet see. This isn't about performative self-improvement to impress her. It's about honoring your own becoming. Rise at 5 a.m. to study marine biology simply because the abyss fascinates you. Blow savings on pottery classes, not to post wins, but to feel clay crack under your untrained hands. Fail publicly at open mic night, then return next month sharper. Most men stop growing when they find comfort. But you seek friction. Every book finished, every mountain summit, every skill mastered whispers to her subconscious, this man is alive with possibility. She doesn't just witness your progress, she feels its ripple in how you carry yourself, how you discuss fear, how you reinvent setbacks as fuel. Suddenly, dating you isn't about who you are, it's about who you're turning into. And that terrifies her in the best way. Because if she pauses, if she grows complacent, she might miss the next leap. Your momentum isn't a trait, it's gravity. She stays not because you promise forever, but because leaving risks missing the person you'll be tomorrow. When your growth outpaces her imagination, she'll grip tighter just to keep up. The fatal lie sold to men is this: you need her to be whole. So you contort, dimming your light, shrinking your dreams, trading sovereignty for scraps of attention. But wholeness cannot be found in another. It's forged in the solitary fires of becoming. Picture this: you wake at dawn not to text her good morning, but to run toward a horizon only you see. You invest in your startup not to boast, but because creation is your oxygen. You say no to draining relationships not from arrogance, but because your peace is sacred ground. This isn't detachment, it's profound alignment. When you stop seeking completion from her and instead embody it despite her, everything shifts. She no longer holds power to validate you. She witnesses a man already at war with his purpose, already in love with his journey, already anchored by his own worth. Now her calculus changes: if he doesn't need me, what value can I add? How do I earn a place in this life? Suddenly, staying isn't charity, it's privilege. She fears not rejection, but irrelevance. Because the man who needs nothing offers everything, the electrifying chance to join something far bigger than romance. A shared ascent. A partnership of equals. She stays not because you convinced her, but because leaving would mean abandoning the most thrilling expedition of her life, and deep down, she knows, men this complete don't wait for stragglers. They march. And she'll either match your stride or become scenery.